Let's go.
On this episode, we hit up the old stomping ground chasing the Aussie bass.
Welcome to my fishing place, the place to be. And this episode, we have a friend of my fishing place on the show. Big Red, what's going on?
Well, a couple of months ago, I heard about almost like the man from Snowy River of the Sunshine Coast fishing world, and his name was David Brace. Phew. Mate, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having us, fellas. What a week it was away. Fantastic bunch of blokes. I've never seen so much mayhem in all my life.
Yep, life jackets on.
Lots of fun to my head hurt and laughter most of the time. So, yeah. Anyway, there we went. Face over apex.
There was even, I believe, that you pointed out a major obstacle as how we travel.
We were pulled up on an OH&S issue by a guest, an unsecured gas bottle. I can honestly say, Bracey, I've never secured a gas bottle in my entire life. And he walks out and goes, unsecured gas bottle. We're like, who the heck is this guy?
10 demerit points.
Well, we knew we were in for a treat. So it's first thing in the morning.
Too early. Where's my coffee?
We load up the kayaks, we head down to the water, and we head out for the day. And it turned out to be a great day. A few of us got PB bass, and we had some great fights, lost a few fish, but it was a fantastic time on the water.
When did we fight? I thought we were quite happy.
I don't remember fighting.
Hard to soar with the eagle.
Oh no, you could have kept going.
For those of you that don't know, I live fairly close to Uwamatic Dam. Nevertheless, Uwamatic for me has not been a good fishery. I remember vividly one morning I spent 3 hours on the dam and didn't raise a guppy. And I go to the car and just flick on Instagram and guys have pulled out, 40 centimetre bass. I'm going, what is wrong with me? And I'll fish there probably 4 or 5 times. And until we went fishing, I truly believed I was cursed at Uwamatic. I didn't even get a nibble for the first probably 2 hours at Uwamatic.
And the rest, you were DM. You were bordering on Big Red.
We had the pills ready.
Yeah.
We had the pills ready.
We had to keep sharp objects out of his kayak. It was not good for Big Red. What I was surprised is, because we've heard about the Uwamatic curse, and then I rock up, I fly up from Melbourne for the fishing trip. We're here to catch fish. Where are we going? Uwamatic Dam. Hang on, you're cursed in Uwamatic Dam. Why are we fishing a dam that you're cursed in? And we're supposed to be catching fish. I was nervous right from the start. Coming up after the break, Big Red takes on his nemesis, Uwamatic Dam.
How quick? You were trolling,
Yeah.
you hooked up quickly.
Very quick.
Quickly. Yeah, quickly. I couldn't think of a word.
He's got English problems. First fish boated, little spangle perch on the gold spinnerbait there. Waiting for something bigger next time.
I was a bit worried myself because I hadn't fished the lake for about 2 to 3 months.
Well, we did troll up and down those, near those buoys there for a bit. Then we tried the weeds and we
Thanks
still...
for giving away the secret spots, by the way.
We could. Well, we did do a little bit of trolling first up without sort of any sort of success. So it was a matter of finding where the fish were, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a couple of taps in the reeds. We were up there, right up in the high, just putting those spinner baits, and I think someone had a hard body on, and we were pressing the reeds, and we got a couple of taps.
And we had a couple of hits earlier fishing in the sedgeweed. For me, that's where the structure is, and that's where those big fish lie. And as an angler, you've got to learn to fish that weed.
I think we were paddling over, and you go, oh, see out there, there's this and that. That's where the big ones hide. Yeah. And like, I had just cast out one of these gold spinner baits here, and was just trolling that through exactly where you said. Next minute, bzzz, my rod's on, and I got a stonking bass. Yeah! Nice. Yeah! Oh, screaming. That was great fun. Yui bass, Yui Matic. Oh, he's off. Yeah! Fish on. Then I got busted off on another couple, just zzz, bang, off. So it proved exactly what you said. The bass were in the weed, and we were just cruising over the top, and they were just coming up, just going boom.
I mean, I caught a few fish that day. Baby bass. Pretty much all on the spinnerbait. They're a good method of fishing through that weeds too, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. Like, they actually act as a weed guard, and trolling's a really good method, and there's a particular technique that I like to use is trolling two lures, one with a spinnerbait and then another one that's higher in the water column, and then a soft plastic similar to this. It's got a jig spinner attached, which also acts as a weed guard about a metre or so behind. So the flash and vibration of the spinnerbait will draw the bass up out of that weed, and then 9 times out of 10, if you're trolling, they'll come up and they'll smack this lure that's getting trolled a little bit behind. So yeah, there's a little secret there. I've just given just trolling in that weed.
You've just given to 1 million viewers across Australia.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't come to Uamatic Dam.
Yeah.
But you broke the drowning release.
Oh, I did, yeah.
My greatest victory, my nemesis, Uamatic Dam. My absolute nemesis.
And it was very fishy. It's very relaxing.
It was not relaxing. You were stressed. You were angry. You were
Actually, there was, wasn't it? It did get quite aggro there for a
a
while.
bit aggro.
Wow.
Starting to get a little disheartened.
Yes, I was. And then bang, you're on. That was my best bass out of that lake.
Yep.
And just great. And they just fight so hard. You just can't believe for such a a smallish fish how well they fight. And it was excellent. Yes, I was very happy at the end of the day.
So Uamatic no longer cursed?
Yeah, still cursed, but I pulled the fish out of it.
Join us after the break for some other great local spots where you can chase the good old bass.
So the next morning, Darren and Keza decided to sleep in. No commitment was there, Bracey,
None
from
at
those
all.
guys.
Absolutely nothing.
They're in bed. Hopeless. Soft.
Bracey and I got up early and headed out to some local creeks to try and find some wild bass.
Hopefully we'll get a few this morning.
Hey, wait a minute, you said we'll definitely clean up, 100%.
The day before in Uamatic, I just didn't put sunscreen on.
Oh no, neither did I.
And
My legs are
My
fried.
legs were as red as this shirt.
Fishing with Bracey, day one.
And David sees the creek and goes, here's a good spot to go through, this lantana and this gimpy. So we'll head straight down here and just absolutely tearing my legs to shreds. And anyway, nice little creek.
It is. It's a very nice creek. Yeah.
Apart from the torch, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good, and we strolled up the creek, but it was actually the water was quite soothing on my legs. I'll give it that much.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate. You right, mate? No, nearly went. Stay safe, AFS. I'm wet.
That's great.
The primary focus for, I guess, this episode was sunny coast bass. We really grew up around Petrie Creek catching bass. I remember a few of those holes casting little homemade lures and little rebels, and like 5 or 6 bass just come charging out because no one had ever fished there before.
Like you said, this was our bread and butter. When we were kids, we were walking creeks, flicking lures for bass, and that's probably how we really kicked off our passion for fishing. And Dazza, I think we've got you with your first bass. You can probably remember your very first bass here on the coast.
Yeah, I think it was Petrie Creek, and back then Neil's Masters were all a go, the little Invincibles, and we were fishing there on one of the bridges near Petrie Creek, and first time I'd fished with lures and cast out, and next thing out from the log come this bass. Wasn't very big, I think it's like half a kilo, like, 400 or 500 grams, but just the first ever species is always great. And I've still got that lure, and in fact I've framed that lure with a picture of that fish. What a fish to catch.
Good to see you got a better haircut now too, Des.
But I think a lot of, even like I could constantly get messages from the younger generation asking, where do you go, what lures do you use? And I think that's like a stepping stone for all keen anglers, whether it be interested in freshwater or saltwater. This is just, as you're saying, a grassroots species to catch, and they're such good fun to catch, especially the wild ones out in the wild creeks and rivers.
Did you catch any fish?
Brazy did.
Oh, good.
Is that another...
That's why we took braces. We needed a fish.
Is that another, like, are the creeks also another, what do you call, like, nemesis?
No,
like,
I'm not.
So is
I'm
it
not.
dams and creeks or just dams?
No, but Brazy's fitter. He's a machine. He got to all the holes before me. Cast.
No casting etiquette.
Yeah, so, no, you hooked it.
Yeah, I did, and like it's pretty tough fishing at the moment. Like it's hard. We haven't had any rain, so the creeks are down. They haven't had a good flush out. Only a little packer. It's a wild bass all the same. So yeah, it was tough fishing. We just kept on at it, and then after about an hour or two, we end up pinning one, which is great.
There you go. That's what we came for. Beautiful little Aussie bass.
But I mean, all of us, been around sort of bass fishing like we mentioned earlier from a young age. I mean, you go back a few years, there was no dam stocked with massive amounts of bass and being able to pull big bass out of dams. That was your fishing.
That's it.
It was finding a little creek, and you probably just come on your way home from school if you're allowed to get a nip out without your homework, kids. And it was heading up the creek for the afternoon. And it was sometimes hard fishing, but that's how we used to fish for bass, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That's the only bass fishing I knew until probably recently fishing in some of the dams. So you'd a 2 or 3 fish day was an awesome day when you're out in those creeks as a young fella.
Absolutely.
There's quite a few little creeks in that from here. In 20 minutes, you could be walking up a pristine creek and pulling out a nice wild bass. 100%,
yeah. And it's just like a secret that not too many people really get the chance to experience. Like the fishery's there for everyone to enjoy, but it's up to the individual to actually get out and explore our great country, because a lot of it just gets unseen.
Yeah, exactly.
After the break, local bass action. Most of this so far has been down the southern end of the coast. We headed north up to one of the dams again, up to Barumba.
It was Barumba Dam. We headed up there, and that's where I got my... That would have had to be nearly 50, that bass.
You cleaned up. That was your PB that you've ever caught, wasn't it?
Again, beautiful spot. Yeah, remember we were trolling, and first bass I'd ever caught on the troll, just a little flats rat, and trolling away. Again, we'd sort of sounded schools, but there was that one particular point, and just trolling away, troll, again thinking, are we getting fish today? And then whack, that thing hit hard. Yeah, nice. Fish of the day, this one. Fish of the day. Oh, go. Come on. Oh, we got colour. Oh, it's a PB.
It's a baby!
Yeah! Monster bass!
Nice
on the
bass! He chooses the lure. He gets the fish!
You were
I was pumped, you know, because, you know, pulled it in, massive bass. That was great. That was really, really good.
On the
Nice
bass!
bass!
Yeah!
Look at that!
Oh.
That's a mass bass.
Yes, happy day! Yes! Yes!
Here's the bass lure right there.
But it was still quite a hard day fishing up there. Like we didn't pull in a lot of bass. We got some good bass.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, oh, it's going to be a good day. You know, we had Ethan, my son, up there. He caught a nice little bass early on.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, easy. You know, I thought, oh, yeah, we're going to be onto some bass today because that was fairly on. But then we did it quite hard until we went back to sort of one of the main basins and sounding them up, which is something, you know, we hadn't done before, was trying to find bass on a sounder where they're schooled up, you know, and I think I got a really good fish, but never fished for bass with blades before, and I got a nice bass on a blade.
Bass is on.
I don't. It was definitely different to, like we said, about that creek fishing. You're not just picking an individual log and knowing there's a bass there and trying to target it. You're really out there in the dams, you know, looking for schools of bass, which is quite different.
So Dave, talk us through a bit of the gear you used in Ewan-Matic Dam, mate.
For trolling, I like using the Storm Arashi Deep 10 or the Rapala Max Wrap Fat Shad. You cannot go past the TT Vortex spinnerbait. Like, that's just a universal lure that you can use all round. Yeah. So they're pretty much my go-to lures in Ewan-Matic Dam. And I'm usually fishing somewhere between 10 and 20 pound leader. I know 20 pound leader sounds over the top, but when you're fishing structure where there's plenty of timber underneath and you want to get that fish up real quick up above that structure, yeah, that's when you need that 20 pound line to put plenty of hurt on the fish to get it up above that structure.
I used the Z-Man spinnerbaits pretty much the whole time because I got those sort of 3 fish in the weeds, and then I just kept getting hits on it, so I didn't change really.
Yeah, I think they were just awesome throwing amongst the reeds and up along those edges, those banks.
Well, Stratic 2500, 80 pound braid and 120 pound leader. If I was cursing Ewan-Matic Dam, that fish wasn't getting enough. No, it wasn't that, but yeah, about I think 10 pound braid, 15 litre. And most of the time there's a little soft plastic in the little beetle spins.
Not weedless. Yeah, that one you love your weedless, don't you?
Oh yeah, because I'm a hopeless caster, mate.
No, I didn't mean that.
I do.
Probably the other set of gear that we're not overly familiar with is fishing yaks. And so taking the kayaks out, amazing. It's so quiet, so stealthy. You kind of got to be a bit organised because you've got stuff in between your legs that you're trying to unhook fish.
It's fun. Although
So good.
the first time you pull a lively bass into your canoe, into your yak at your feet, and it's jumping around. I think I got cut on the foot about 6 times.
Shot with you bleeding.
It's like, you know, you catch the fish and you pull it in, and all of a sudden, holy!
Well, some's going to get hooked up.
And it's pretty close to, you know, important parts of the anatomy, really.
Yeah. So now, places like Ewan-Matic Dam, they don't get stocked by accident. As most people know, bass breed downstream and swim upstream to the fresh. And so, because bass don't like climbing 350-foot concrete walls, there's got to be another way to get fish in the dam. Dave founded the Ewan-Matic Dam Stocking Association.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been fishing the place for years, and back in 2010, I was constantly catching really big fish, but noticing there was none of the smaller class model bass, and we formed a fish stocking group for Ewan-Matic Dam. We put them in at, for the bass, for instance, about 3 centimetres in length, and they grow at about, for the first 3 years, they'll grow to about 30 centimetres, and then the growth rate slows right down. So those big fish that we were catching were probably, you know, 10-year-old fish that may be stocked. Yeah. from the first stocking group, so, and those bigger models. But you know, since then we've stocked in Saratoga, Mary River cod.
I think, you know, those stocked impoundments are just a real step forward for recreational fishers, you know, for tourism, for everything, because it is fairly simple fishing. You know, you can go there with a family and you can hop on a kayak, go for a paddle and catch some fish. And to me, it's very inclusive. You know, anyone can do it. There's plenty of dams around Queensland.
What a great day out there on the dam. We got some great fish. You know, we had a couple of double hookups. I know, you know, when the drought breaks, sometimes that just comes flooding in, the bass are on.
Next episode, join us down the Mary River.